Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Safe Room. I'm your host, the President Sean Williams. We're back here with another episode, and today I'm on the run. I'm not gonna lie with you. I'm kind of busy, so I'm trying to get into this episode quick, in and out. But I do want to take the time to introduce our guest. This is someone I met back a while, and I'm really glad that she's coming on the podcast today. She's a social media manager, content creator. She's empowering women overall. And that's what we love to see on the podcast. And women empowerment, it doesn't get any better than this. Today we have the wonderful Ellie Abraham. Ellie, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Sean. Thank you for that introduction.
Yeah, of
I'm doing
course.
good. Busy, busy, busy. Kids, business, move, still settling in because I recently moved from Toronto to Alberta, so there's all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope the move's gone well. I know moving from Toronto to a whole nother province is it's a lot.
Yeah, it really is. It's been smooth so far. Um, I mean, we recently had an incident, somebody broke into our car, but
Oh no. Wow.
yeah. One thing about Edmonton, depending how close you live to downtown, there's a lot of not so great people, and there's also
It's like
yeah,
weird activity.
yeah,
Oh man. Well,
yeah.
I honestly don't know why someone would do something despicable as that, honestly.
Times are hard.
Yeah, but we're here. Hopefully you
Yeah,
get to share a little bit more about what you're doing and we can bring back that positivity into the room right here.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm excited for the conversation. So before we get into the main questions, we're going to start off with our hot seat segment. This is just four simple questions that I just want to ask you. I see the smile. You're probably like, "Oh boy, here we go."
Hot seats get me nervous.
Don't let the name intimidate you. It's very chill, very chill.
Okay.
Okay, you got this. You got this. So the first question I have: so outside the work that you do as a social media manager, content creator in the field that you work in, tell me something about yourself in one sentence.
I am a creator of many things.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
That would be it. That would sum it up in one sentence. I am a creator of many things.
I
Would
think
you like me?
that's no, that's a good way of saying it because like obviously there's so much to expand on. So if you do want to kind of expand on that rationale or like on that sentence, go ahead.
Mhm. Okay. So, first of all, I am a mom. So I have created two little lives that keep me very busy. I also have multiple businesses. I do dog grooming, I sell e-commerce. As you said, I'm also empowering women. So I have a little thing going on there where I am helping women to become more financially literate. And I'm creating like a very we're in the safe room. I'm creating a safe space for women to feel as if they can openly talk about their finances with my accountability group that I recently created. I am also right now working on opening a little shop where I have things for women, for business babes, books, sweaters, all that kind of merch to help them with their businesses and productivity. So that's that.
Okay, I've never done this before, but I think we might have to tweak your answer from "I'm a creator of all things" to "I'm doing the damn thing." My goodness.
Yes, well, there's quite a few things going on. Yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, mompreneur, again, multiple businesses that you're juggling, which is absolutely the amount of strength that takes as well. Just being able
Yeah.
to keep that work ethic and consistency, man. Bravo to you. Bravo.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you,
of
Sean.
course, of course. Let's get into the next question. So, this one's probably going to be like, I would probably say this might be the hardest hot seat question I've ever asked. So I'm trying not to make it too difficult. But what is one piece of advice you would share to a younger version of yourself?
Ooh, a younger version to myself. The advice that spins, and I tell my young girls on my TikTok, is to not dim your light for other people. Throughout my life, I have found that I'm a very confident person. I do what I have to do. I'm easy to make friends with people. Sean, I think you can attest to that, like, um, but that intimidates a lot of people. And because of that intimidation, I have found myself in situations where I have dimmed me so that I can fit in other people's, space. And it has never done me any good. So the advice I would give to my younger self is not to dim your light for anyone and just do you, big and bold.
I love it. I absolutely
Yeah.
love it. It's just so true because, especially for entrepreneurs, we always have that conversation with ourselves saying, I don't know, man. Like, yes, my business is progressing. I'm seeing some growth, but at the same time, like, we always hold a very high standard. And I get it. We always
Hmm.
want to think big. I have big dreams. I have big goals that I want to do, but it's also good to take a moment to just appreciate some of the small wins or even just like what you're doing right now. Even if it's like, I didn't get the chance to finish this one major task, but let's say I did like a portion of what I needed to do. Then celebrate that. Honestly,
Hmm.
there are so much things that I am so behind on right now. If I told you this, guys, it'd be a whole podcast episode itself. But honestly, for me, like I could sit here and say, you know what? I got the chance to, edit one video, or I got to
Yeah.
have 30 minutes to just kind of do what I need to do for like graphic designing or like just meeting with a client or having a conversation, like this is something that you should appreciate. It's not something that you just look at and say, I don't know, like, is this really important? Like, no, like, big up yourself. I totally agree.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. More people need to celebrate them and celebrate, the things that you're doing, who you are. And I think that if that intimidates some people, then that's okay. They're probably not your people. you know? Like the people who you're supposed to be surrounded by, they will celebrate you. They will encourage you to continue to shine and do what it is that you're doing. So, yeah.
Definitely. Absolutely. Okay. So, the next question I have for you, an
Mhm.
interesting fact that you rarely share about yourself.
An interesting fact that I rarely share about myself. Hmm. I'm thinking. Interesting. Now, when we say interesting, is this interesting to other people or is this interesting to me alone? Like,
I mean, like, whatever's interesting, just like share it. Listen, a lot of people are stumped at this question too. So,
I'm extremely flexible.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm extremely flexible and I don't share that a lot. I guess it's because like it's just one of those things that if you're in person with me, that's when you'll notice it. Um, I wanted to do gymnastics when I was younger, but we never
Okay.
signed me up for it. So I kind of just like went into like doing yoga, Pilates, and kept up with maintaining that flexibility. So yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear. Obviously, that's something I'm trying to like get better at in terms of just exercise and stuff like that. So like, I it's something that I probably need some improvement. I do have one question. I'm trying to be very sensitive with the question. Was the
Mhm.
flexibility there before having the kids as well? Like,
Yeah, it's there. It was there before, it's there after. And sometimes, so I have mild scoliosis in my back.
oh,
And
okay.
sometimes that the flexibility, because I am so flexible, I was told by my what's it called? My chiropractor that kind of can get in the way with me too. So there's the pros and cons to that. I overwork my back. But on the upside, I can fit in some really tight spaces and like do really cool things. So
Well, I mean, there's a little talent right there. If there's ever a talent show, you might have to kind of display that for everyone to see, and everyone will just be shocked, like, "What? That's crazy, Ellie."
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Going to the final question for this hot seat segment. What
Mhm.
is your personal safe room? So, what is a safe space? It could be physical, it could be mental inside of your head. Like, what is a safe space that allows you to be you?
My bedroom.
All right.
Yeah, that's a safe space. Like I feel like my bedroom is a safe space so that like I could get work done there. Could be up in there dancing for hours. The best conversations. I think that's why I love your name for your podcast too, the safe room. Um, it definitely gives that sense of like, hey, like automatically, I think where's that safe space for me, and it's right there. It's my bedroom. That's that safe space. It allows me to think, relax, just get everything out. Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. There's a couple of times like people have kind of questioned about the name of the safe room too. People kind of wonder like, what's it about? I think the
Mhm.
most funny, the most hilarious response I ever got from someone who asked about the safe room. Someone thought, "Oh, is it a space where you like it's like very controversial?" And like I couldn't help but laugh. And I'm like, "Where did you get that from? The name, the safe room?" Like, yeah, it's a platform where we're talking trash. It's like very controversial, hot takes. I'm like, no, it's the actually the quite opposite, but you know, it's
So
interesting.
since we're in the safe room, my mind definitely, I'm a little bit warped, so my mind would have went somewhere else too. We're adults, so yes, but no, like talking, I get how they would think that, but automatically I would think it's that place where you just get to like But I guess safe room sounds different for everyone else, so there's that.
That's true. There's always, variety of definitions of just what the safe room or a safe room would be for someone. So that's very
Hmm.
true. Okay,
Hmm.
so that was the hot seat segment. You did good. You did really good.
Not
Yeah.
too
It's
bad.
okay, so now let's get into your backstory. This is where the main questions come in.
Hmm.
So, like I mentioned before, you are a social media manager, you are a content creator, you are very active on social media, which is, I know it's a responsibility and task on its own because trying to be active on social media, just whether it's making posts or just engaging with your audience, it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs are trying to figure out, including myself. I feel like I'm in that point where I'm trying to really dive deep into like who's engaging with my posts, who is liking, responding, but also like who's saving my posts, who are like, sending my posts to other people's that they're hearing about it. But I want you to tell me a story where you found a gem within social media management and
Hmm.
how it translated into an opportunity where you said, okay, you know what? I think this is something I actually want to do like full time or like moving forward within my business.
Hmm. Now, I just want you to explain a little bit more on the word gem. When you say gem, I know people use it in different ways, but what do you mean specifically by gem? If you could give me like an example.
Yeah, so like I'll even do this for me. So
Hmm.
when it came to podcasting, I kind of define a gem as like, like a moment in my
Hmm.
definition. So like it was one
Hmm.
particular moment where I actually got the chance to host a podcast during my university days called Negative Balance. And it was from that moment I realized, wait a minute, I'm actually really good at like having these conversations like on the mic. I'm like, wait a minute, maybe it's just something that's like steered me into a certain direction. And then
Hmm.
a couple years later, that's where I started to have thoughts of having a podcast and saying, you know what? I actually want to bring on people and, make this a full time thing of mine, podcasting moving forward. So I guess for Jem, I would probably say like one moment where like you kind of found like something that would just it's like a revolution in a way, or like it's like from this moment it's like, okay, I did this and it's actually going to, I didn't realize at the moment this was something I actually was going to be doing moving forward.
Yeah. Uh, so when I realized that I really wanted to take off in social media was when I noticed my partner, he is a marketer, a business coach. He does copywriting and all of that. Big up to Andre. But it was when I realized that the strategies that I would give him for his business really popped off. And I was like, oh, shucks. Like, this is not just content creation. Like, this, I have the knowledge, and it's something I do daily for myself, which I didn't even realize I was doing. Right. And I noticed, like, when I would give him suggestions, when I would give him the strategies to implement with his Instagram, or even reviewing his copywriting and stuff like that, like, they did really, really well. And so from there, I was like, okay, all right. So if I can help you, I can help other people. And then I took it from there, and I put it to work. He put me to work too, allowed me to work with some of his clients. And that's really just where it took off. And I really enjoyed it because it gave me that opportunity to help people in a way that wasn't just beneficial to them, in developing like their self, but also in helping them to make money and helping them to achieve their goals in business. And that to me was really more than I could want. So that's how come I stuck with social media management, because I saw the benefits that it had for people and also for myself. So that's where I stuck, and I'm that social media girly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm telling you, like I said, you are very, very active. I see it within the post that you make in terms of just like the level of consistency, even like the professionalism with the color schemes. When you
Yeah.
go and check out a social media manager's page on Instagram or whatever it may be on LinkedIn, there's always a color scheme that they follow, which I think is really good. And, I think those are things that some people do recognize, but there are other people who don't recognize that. And I don't think it's a bad thing, but I guess it's just being able to, share stuff like that, because some people think, oh, I mean, if I'm making my post, I mean, I think maybe their mindset is, what, I want it to be so vibrant and so have like ambiance in it. But then you're forgetting to realize, wait, are all my posts looking the same? Are they matching, or are they basically giving out what I'm supposed to be sharing with my audience? So I had that experience when I started. I was just making random stuff, but like nothing was like, even from my personal view, it didn't feel right. It just didn't feel like
Yeah.
nothing was clicking. So even
Mhm.
like the last year, I've taken some time to just, okay, let me actually analyze my page and figure out, okay, if I'm going to be posting this, how's it going to look like, and how can I make sure that it matches the vibe of my
Yeah.
entire profile?
Yeah. 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 I really appreciate that you noticed that about my page, and uh the just the professionalism, because I work really hard. I work really hard to make sure that everything is looking smooth, and I spend lots of hours to debating between, like, hey, like, okay, does this look good? Like, is the audience gonna see this, and are they gonna read it properly? Is it gonna look good? I've even considered, like, people who are visually impaired, and they might be colorblind. Recently, I was just researching to see, like, do these colors actually pop? Will they get it? So thank you for noticing that and pointing that
Definitely.
out.
Yeah, for sure. So, my next question that I have for you, and this is something that I'm very curious about myself, because, it's something that, like, it floats in my brain once in a while, even when I'm working on my own stuff. And, sometimes you need to get to the bottom of this and, like, get answers. So,
Hmm.
I want to ask, what are some of the common myths when it comes to branding and content strategy? Because I know some people have like certain assumptions on, this is one approach you should do, or this is one practice that you should try when it comes to branding or content strategy. But sometimes you don't know because you're hearing so many voices. And obviously, I'm not expecting you to have all the answers, but maybe just from you working with clients, having that expertise in your, personal experience, what are some myths that you could probably deduce from
Mm-hmm.
that experience, you can share
Mm-hmm.
based on branding and content strategy?
Have you ever seen the TikTok video? Are you on TikTok, by the way?
I'm on TikTok, but I don't post there. I'm on TikTok just for vibes.
There's a TikTok video that's floating around where the girl says, "Oh my goodness, I love this question." This is me right now. Okay, so getting into myths, one of the biggest ones that I can say is you do not have to post every day, 7 days a week, 3 times a day. That is the biggest one that I get a lot of people, a lot of clients when they first come in with me, they're like, oh, the reason why I don't want to do social media like this is, or I haven't started, is because it looks like a lot of work. People have to post every single day, and like, I don't know what to post. I don't know how I'm going to come up with all of this. I have my business, my physical business that I'm dealing with. How am I supposed to do all of this? The truth of the matter is you do not have to post so often. There are people who maybe they don't have kids, maybe they are able to do it, maybe they have a social media manager, because a lot of people have a team and you don't know, right? They have other people doing the work for them and you just don't know. So you're here comparing yourself, thinking, I need to be pushing out so much content. I need to be doing all of these things 7 days a week. The truth is, you don't. Find something that works for you. The consistency is what you have to build where it integrates with your lifestyle. Okay? So for starters, my go-to for clients is I tell them just start off by posting 3 days out of the week. You can do it 2 times a day, you can do it 1 time a day for those 3 days, but just start off like that. Once you get into the flow of that and you see how it is that it's working for you, um, from there you can decide, do you want to do more, do you want to do less, are you seeing the type of engagement that you want, and then you go from there. You build that discipline, you build that consistency. But you posting 7 days a week or 5 days a week, 3 times a day, you're gonna go burnout 1 time. it's
Right.
it's not sustainable, not for somebody, not for a business owner who has other things to do, and not for an individual who has other responsibilities. It's just not possible. So that's one of the biggest myths. And I see a lot of coaches, I see a lot of influencers who advocate for this and say, yes, 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 it works, and it does work. But on the other side, they don't tell you it leads to burnout. It leads to people being stressed. It leads to you being disappointed. So you have to give yourself, you have to be real with yourself, and you have to give yourself the time to build up to that frequency, if that is what you want to do, right?
Right, right. That makes sense. So I have a follow question. So
Mm-hmm,
obviously you did mention that if you are posting like every day, you're gonna get that burnout. But do
mm-hmm,
you feel like if, let's say you're a business, but you have a social media team and there's like multiple people managing, let's say, one particular social media account, where let's say, they're all kind of working together behind the scenes to create the content and to all like manage the post as well. Do you still feel like there's that sense of burnout that could linger within a situation like that?
So the thing that happens is that you have to have a strategy, you have to have a plan. The burnout can happen if you have a team, but you guys don't have your goals and you are winging your content. You're not, the term would be batch creating. You're not taking time to decide, okay, on this day is when I'm going to research, or I'm going to write down my ideas. And I talked about this recently in one of my lives. If you are not planning, then you will lead to that burnout. Your team's going to be lost, which, if you have a great team, they should teach you how to plan. But let's say you are the leader of this and you just have a team who's doing video editing. What else is there? Video editing, creating the carousel post for you and such. If you are winging it and you're just giving it to them day by day, yes, that burnout will linger. It will still happen. So you have to have a plan. You have to have a strategy, And you have to have specific days where you decide this is what I am going to do. And you have to have at least a 90-day plan as to what are your goals and outcomes that you want from the content that you are going to be posting. You know, do you want growth? Do you want sales? Do you want engagement? There's different areas for you to explore.
Definitely, definitely. So I do appreciate you kind of expanding on that. So I know for me, there was points where like I did feel that burnout. I felt like I was like rushing to like
Yeah.
get stuff out, and it
Mhm.
takes that toll on you where at one point you don't want to do anything at all. You just kind of feel like stepping away. So
Yeah.
it's definitely something that you have to learn. It's a learning curve that I kind of overcame. So at one point I said, you know what? I'm just gonna step away from social media for a bit, but not because like I'm giving up. It's just let me actually plan things out. So like it was
Mhm.
probably around last year. I was doing this like prior to like last year in the summer, but I did
Yeah.
it again around the end of 2023 where I decided, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna post as much. I'm gonna take some time for maybe a couple days to just edit straight in, straight out. So it was at a point where I was dropping an episode, but what people didn't know is like, oh, the next 4 episodes are already like ready to go. It's just now like
Yes.
when the day comes, and then even with that, I had like short like form content ready to go as well for those
Yeah.
dates. So it wasn't me like, oh, it's the week of now. I'm trying to edit. I'm trying to like put the content together. It's just like it's a whole mess.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it gets messy like that. And as I said, it leads to burnout. You're stressed. Like, have you ever made a post and you know to yourself it's a great idea, but then in the process of doing the description or the write-up or the editing, you're like, and you're sweating and you're like, man, like, I need to get this out. So to eliminate all of that, I am guilty of doing it too. You know, in the beginning, there's some days too where I do like put something out just randomly,
Right.
um, but to avoid all of that stress and the sweat and the overthinking, just plan it out. Just plan it out and schedule it. Instagram has a great scheduling tool in app. It's pretty useful. I use it more than like MetaSuite or Later and stuff like that for myself, and I encourage my clients to use it too. So there's that. I know you asked about personal branding, right? No, you said
Yeah.
branding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of the myths that I would like to debunk about branding is it is okay for you to do personalized branding. It is okay for you to show yourself and things that you like. It is okay for you to show yourself as a human in your business. When you think of it, when you go into I don't like the term small business, but it is what it is. When you go into a place of business, okay, and if you were to meet the owner, what is it that makes you connect with the business? Is it the things alone, or is it when you have that interaction with the business owner? What makes it memorable for you?
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
I get it.
Yeah, like what makes it memorable for you? If you're having a great experience, not just let's say, as I said, the business owner is there and the business owner comes up, they greet you, they ask you how your day is going, they want to know what you're interested in, they share a little bit about themselves, just talking to you in a way that's very open, interactive, and human. Wouldn't that make you want to go back to that place? Wouldn't that make it more memorable as opposed to someone is just like business, sales, get this, get that. Like if we're being honest, right?
Yeah,
You have that more of a connection. You'll have the advantage of having a connection with your audience, which as a business owner, you really do want to have. Um, if you were to showcase more of that human side and
I
showcase
definitely
who
agree.
you are. So I want to encourage people to put your personal authentic self out there and connect with your community, connect with your clients, the audience that you're trying to get, and let them get to know you too. It's a two-way street. It's not just business.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know what? I'll say this. I am guilty as charged. I feel like even when I look at my page, it's like there's not enough of me like humanizing. But I feel like for me, I do that through my IG stories. I feel like sometimes
Yeah,
I'll just, like I remember one time, it was like recently, I saw it snow outside. I just like I had to go on IG and I'm just like, yo, what is happening here? Like what
yeah,
is going on? And like I see people like responding with like laughing emojis, liking my thing because people are just like, oh wow, like I didn't know Sean was like this quirky. And I'm like, I tell everyone, like, listen, like at one point I was very quiet. And it's
yeah,
hard to believe that even me saying it right now, I'm like, how was I so quiet? But nowadays, if I step into a room, I'm probably the loudest one. Like that's just how
yeah.
I be. Even sometimes if I go to an event and I take like a picture or a photo of myself
Hmm.
and post it, it's getting so much likes compared to if I post something that's like about my podcast. And it's not to say that I put out trash content or trash material, but it's
No,
just like they're not at the same level because I feel like again we are living in an age where like humanizing your brand is not a bad thing.
no, it's not. And some of the most successful, not some of them, but the most successful businesses, they have managed to connect. They have managed to make people feel as if they are a part of their journey, right? And they have successfully made it so that their community feels as if they are a part of the mission because they they don't need to know everything about you, but they at least somewhat know you enough to be like, this is why I support this business. And
Yeah,
that's really, so as much as a lot of coaches, influencers might say like, hey, like take the personal side out of it, you run your business how you want to run it. If you of course, always think strategy, always think, how can I get sales and all of that good stuff. But run your business in a way that allows your customers, your audience to interact with you and have that connection. So that's it for me with branding.
definitely, absolutely, 100%. Okay, so I want to go back to the it's not like the first question, but we're going back into the moment question in a sense. All right,
Mhm.
so I want you to share a moment where you either hit a roadblock in marketing yourself to your clients, or moments where maybe you say, okay, I have a marketing strategy, this is what I want to employ, but you have to scrap it, maybe it completely backfired. So it's either or, maybe a moment where you had some trouble reaching out to the clients that you wanted to in terms of the services that you have, or maybe there was a marketing plan that it just never got out of the box. And the reason why I want to ask this is because I am probably the king when it comes to having a marketing plan, and it's probably like, yeah, it just did not go the way I wish it could be. So maybe like you could share something and maybe provide how you even pivoted from that moment, or just anything. I know it's a lot, so I'll start all over. I'll start all over. Again, share a moment where you
Yeah.
either hit a roadblock when it
Mhm.
came to reaching out to clients, marketing your business, or you had a marketing plan, you had a marketing strategy, and it just never worked out. It just never got
Okay.
implemented.
So one of the roadblocks I hit with clients would have been me cold pitching.
All right.
Cold pitching works. It still works. I know a lot of people say like, hey, like no, don't do this, and whatever the case might be. It still works. But for me, it just didn't work out. People wanted to know like, where did you come from? Why do you have my information? Like what is it that you want? Or I'd find like I'd be getting ignored. Um, and earlier I mentioned like I'm very friendly, I'm very personable, right? And the cool pitching for me, it was that thing where like I just needed to go back to myself. I needed to build those connections. And then once I build those connections, that's where the people were like, okay, like, but that cold pitching, it never worked out for me. It got shut down real quick. And as for a marketing strategy, again, I listened to a coach who was telling me like post more business, like do business. My audience supports me when I show up as me. They love my business. They love what I do. They love seeing my journey. They want to, buy from me. But they didn't like me shoving business down their throat all of the time. I noticed personally, you talked about showing up in your stories and we talked about consistency. Yes, show up in your stories, show up in your business where you can best. I noticed for me with my stories, when I was just posting business, 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 there was a decline. Nobody cared. They didn't want to watch that. They were, what is this? Like, this is not Ellie. This is not what we came here for. And even if we knew she was pivoting into more business, like, we miss you, right? And so I noticed once I started showing my face, once I started doing my lives again, once I started um, having something to say with my business, my views skyrocketed. People were inquiring again, like, so that for me was I had to scrap the whole, oh, this is just going to be solely a business account. And I had to bring it back where this is business and it's personal. And that's where I saw, like, for me, my marketing strategy works best is where I can balance personal and business, um, and tend to my audience like in that way. So the whole business was just it was not for me.
Yeah, listen,
Yeah.
I can totally resonate with that. So like for me, again, I struggle to kind of show my
Yeah.
personal side on social media. But it's not because I lack that, ability to tap into that. It's just if you ever see me at an event, any event, that's when
Hmm.
people really get to see like the personal side of me. Cause everyone just
Hmm.
assumed that, okay, when Sean he has his podcast, he's behind the mic, he's very professional, he has a good energy, but he knows how to like hold down a conversation. If you
Hmm.
ever see me in person, especially nowadays, anytime I'm going to like an event where like I see a bunch of like entrepreneurs, in all due respect, if you come up to me and the first thing you tell me is, so what is your business? Get out my face. I don't want to hear none of that, bro. I'm like, listen, I want to know, like, yo, are you tapping into like the new Kendrick Lamar album? Like what's going on? Like, how's life? Are you doing any hobbies? Like, I'm really trying to like just have a good time, and people can see that too. When I show up, I'm just like very uppity. I'm like, all right, let's do this, and like, sometimes I'll be joking. Like one time, I went to this event. I won't say anything. I won't say the event because I
Hmm.
don't want them to come after me and blast me. But let's just say there was some food left over, and I was like, yo, is anyone gonna take that? Is anyone gonna take that? Like please, like, give me a to go bag, and like I'll just be gone. So like, I'm very like just out of control when it comes to like in person events. So socially wise, I'm trying to do better like on social media of
Hmm.
exuding that same energy, and I think I might
Yeah.
start doing that on my story, just being like, yo guys, I'm hopping on, nothing too serious, but it's just like, can anyone just help me, like, get in contact with this person? Or maybe better yet, like, yo, tell me what you think about this. I read this on Twitter. Like, yo, how are y'all feeling? And one thing I really like
Hmm.
about your post, Ellie, is I think it's every day you do like, how are we feeling? Or like, what is your mood? And like, I see some of the options and I'm like, they're so random some point. It's like, okay, sometimes I'll be like, okay, how are you feeling? I'm feeling great. I'm feeling fantastic. And then there's other times it's like, I don't know, I'm eating ice cream or everything like that. Like I don't know. Like that's what I like about it. It's like different in a way.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that. My partner and I, we had started this thing called the Gratitude Family before, and we're still kind of like figuring out how we're going to go about it. But one of the things that I realized, and both of us came to the conclusion with, was like people don't people aren't as grateful, or they don't remember to be as grateful for things as they should be, and we should incorporate it more into our lives. So that's really how that came about. Like, I have a sticker every day where I'm like, hey, like, what are you grateful for? And it is very random, because I try to think of like different scenarios where, or different audiences, like what would these people be grateful for. um and that's really the strategy, to incorporate my personal side, but then get that engagement with my audience. See that? So yeah, I appreciate you pointing that out. But yeah, like, definitely, I think it's really important as a business owner for you to know, especially on social media, that even though it's social media, you have to treat it like you're an in-person business too. You know, try to find a way to make it like that in-person business too. And don't overthink it. A lot of entrepreneurs, when they first start out on social media, they're overthinking and they're comparing. Don't compare yourself to anyone. Just do you. uh if you ever needed like strategies and stuff like that, yes, do your research. Okay, don't just go out here and posting willy-nilly. But do what feels good for you, do what feels good to your audience, and you will see success.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, so next question I have, and we're going to go a little bit deeper into your business. So, how
Mhm.
has creating your services allowed you to empower women entrepreneurs and for helping them to upscale their businesses and also, experience financial growth in their business as well? Because I know, again, you have a lot of stuff going on. So I
Mhm.
do want to like shine a light on that in terms of just how is it creating these types of services or like creating these products, whatever it may be, to help female entrepreneurs, have that upscale in their business and also experience financial growth as well.
So I'm gonna start with the part where you asked for my services. So my services allows women to be able to get back that time freedom. As I just said, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of moms and young women who maybe are juggling school and work, now you have to come online and you have to think like, what do I have to post? Shucks, like I need to get this content out. I help you get back that time, or I wouldn't even say get back that time, but give you time to do something that you need to actually focus on. That is how my service helps you. I deal with the content strategy, the ideals, and all you have to do is just be yourself or follow the instructions, and I do the rest. So you can go back to studying for school. You can go work and know to yourself that like, hey, my posts are going to be scheduled. I don't have to worry about any of that. Um, my engagement is going to be taken care of because I don't need to worry about like responding to comments because Ellie has that. And if anything, like she's going to notify me. So that's really what it is. I like to say that I help you online so you can thrive in real life and focus on the things that you need to focus on. When it comes to helping their business financially, I have quite a few posts about social media on a budget. People think that social media is expensive, and marketing can definitely get expensive. However, if you learn how to market correctly, if you learn what it is that your audience likes, if you learn how to show up and talk, you and like really get your brand across to your audience, they do the selling for you. They do the work for you. Because you could spend thousands of dollars on marketing, on ads, doing all of this, but that organic growth, the organic sales engagement, all of that comes from you having a strong community. um, we have all seen posts where somebody posts something and it's very controversial or it's very it's very trendy, and there's thousands of shares. They didn't pay for those shares. We are the ones, the consumers, who are sharing it, right? So I help women to figure out like, hey, like how can you create something in your business where it's going to grow your community and you don't necessarily have to spend thousands of dollars in your marketing, right? At least not for first. I also help you to find ways that are very budget friendly. So let's say you don't have a big amount of money to spend, where you can just, as I said, market. You can create your content, and you can know, okay, this cost what, and you can budget that into your regular daily life expenses. So there's that. That's the way. And then your last question, because this one was very packed too.
Um,
What
I
was
I think that probably was it. Actually, I
that
think.
was it for the
Yeah,
finances?
yeah.
Yeah. So that's really how I help. I help you to have that financial literacy when it comes to budgeting and finding out the prices and figuring out all of that. When it comes to sales, I am working on sales myself. I don't teach or broadcast anything that I'm not great in as yet. So when it comes to monetizing your content, I am still currently working on that. So once I have that down, Sean, you will be seeing it on my page. But right now, I'm more growing your community and helping you with that financial literacy, and budgeting for your marketing or your content. So,
That's good to hear. I think there was a recent post that you shared where you kind of did detail like different, ways where you can, post, market, and you don't have to spend money on.
tons
You
of
don't have
money.
to, yeah, you don't have to go crazy. I'm trying to like scroll down and see if I can, like, I'm literally searching. Here it is. So it's like a budget friendly social media resources for business growth. So again,
Yes.
there's different things that you can try out and different things that you can access that allow you to, again, just, you don't have to spend money, you don't have to go
Yeah.
crazy, you don't have to
Yeah.
break the bank.
Yeah, yeah. You don't have to, and I believe it was Gary V talking about Mr. Beast, when he was talking about his marketing. Now, obviously, these people have money, right? But at at first, like it's not even at first, they have realized that all you have to do is get attention and the marketing does itself. Like literally that, and you see that with comedians. Sean, you see that with yourself too. I would think that you would see it too with yourself. Like if you can get people's attention and tie that in with them liking you, your marketing is taken care of.
Hmm.
Like, and you do a wonderful job with that attention because you always have very interesting guests on your podcast, right? You have people who people want to listen to. You have people who are giving value and information. And I would say like that definitely, I could see how it helps your marketing too, right? Where it's like you don't necessarily have to spend a big budget into marketing because consumers naturally want to listen to what your guests have to say and what you have to say. And we take it upon ourselves to now share your content, to now go download your episodes and listen. So, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I do appreciate that. So it's something that, again, for a lot of people, the best way I feel if you're able to market well is when you have your own marketing team in your
Mhm,
audience where they're just pushing out the content, and then next thing you know, you're
mhm,
starting to wonder like, wait, I have a new follower, but it's like I've never met this person in my life. Like who
mhm.
are they? It's like, oh, I was
Mhm.
referred from a friend who is a friend of another person who says that they're following you, and that's how I found your page. So it
Yeah,
happens.
yeah. The last thing, if I can, Sean, towards this is I want to encourage people to put out the content because you never know what is going to hit. You never know what's going to resonate. Like as much as their strategy and everything, just put out the content and test to see what works. And once you see what works, make more content like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the best
yeah.
strategy for sure, for
Mhm,
sure. Okay, I do have one more thing I want to do before we wrap things up, and
mhm,
it's a little activity portion of the
mhm,
podcast that we like to implement. So, I know we were talking before, and I
mhm,
think you mentioned something about a social media checklist.
mhm,
So I would love for you to kind of break down what does this checklist kind of symbolize, because for myself I could always use like an extra resource, something that allows me to improve in my social media skills, my marketing skills, whatever it may be. Because and also for people who assume that this conversation is only exclusive to a particular individual who's reached a certain amount of years of experience. This is for anyone. If
Mm-hmm.
you're started in, if you're 10 years deep, we're not all
Mm-hmm.
perfect. We're all students of the game. This conversation is for everyone. So even for myself, when you said social media checklist, my eyes open up like, oh, hold on, I'm a little intrigued about what this could possibly entail. So perhaps you can go into detail about this social media checklist, kind of break down like what's on the checklist for people to probably take away for themselves, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay, give me 1 second. I just want to pull it up.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, it's always I'm a big planner, so it's always good to have your checklist with you. And I haven't put this out as yet. It
Oh, so it's an
if
sneak peek in a way.
Yeah, it's a sneak peek because Sean, if you notice, I am doing a bit of work on my page right now. I recently changed my name and such, so there's yes, it's a little sneak peek. It's exclusive right now if you listen.
There you go, there you go.
uh, yeah, hold on, let me just pull this up.
No
Okay,
problem.
so for your social media checklist that I will be providing for you in the month of February, almost with some other stuff, this is going to be free for entrepreneurs to download. Um, and the first thing that is on there is you making sure that you have clear goals and objectives. As I said, I am a big planner. So I am just right now reading from my thing that I'm working on is for you to have clear objectives. And when it comes to your social media and your business, you want to make sure that you are defining your social media goals. Do you want to build brand awareness? Do you want to see sales? Do you want to build a community? Right? Those are the first things that we're going to get into. These are great questions to ask yourself if you are now starting off on social media. Maybe you're a business owner already, you have a great successful business, but you want to put that over onto social platforms. What are your goals starting off, right? Then you're going to need to know your audience. Who is your audience? Like, for example, Sean, who would be, do you know your audience? I'm putting you on the hot seat right now.
My audience, it's 24 to 39, consists of entrepreneurs, business owners, and I like how you did expand on like what are your social media goals. I'm trying to build a community with
Mm-hmm.
my platform, with my profile, but I'm also looking to build brand awareness. And I'll say this before I'll let you speak again. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes, guys. So like I
Yeah.
want to share, but I'm gonna keep it on the wraps. But I'm gonna let Ellie get back into her tutorial
Yeah.
with the checklist.
Yeah. So after you set your objectives and something very well known in social media management, KPIs, right? That's your key performance indicators. You are going to research and make sure that you know your audience. You know, what are your demographics? Sean just said is 18 to 24.
24 to 39.
24 to 39,
Yeah.
sorry. You know, are they female, are they males, are they entrepreneurs, what are the things that they like, what are the things that they dislike, why do they come to you? Then the next thing you are going to know is platform selection. Which platform do you want to be on? Sean, I believe you were on my live when I was talking about this. Is everyone's going to tell you like be here, be there, and you're running around trying to be everywhere. No, choose which one you can show up best on and that you feel comfortable being on and where your audience is. So if you are a big professional corporate, you might want to be on LinkedIn. You might want to be more so on Facebook, right? These are where like the demographics for very very corporate people are. um, and if you are going towards a younger audience, you might want to consider going on Instagram, TikTok. Sean, hint, hint, I recommend you start up TikTok. Okay.
I am when I say like TikTok is one of those things. It's like my Achilles heel. It's like I'm gonna get started, but then it's just like nah. Like I definitely need to take some time to do TikTok for
You
sure.
can do it. And if you ever need any help, I'm right here. And then from there, you're going to think about, okay, these are all planning. These are all beforehand for starting off your checklist, right? Then you're going to create, you're going to sign up for the platforms and you're going to start creating content. And that's where profile optimization comes in. You're going to want to make sure, okay, who are you? What are you aligning yourself with? Does it actually showcase what your business is or who you are? Let's say you're not a business, so you're influencer, art, whatever. Does it showcase that? And then optimize your page or your platform to that. And then you're going to get into content strategy. Now, for that, I'll leave it there for the checklist, but that's a little sneak peek as to what it has. And if you ever want to talk content strategy and need help with anything, I'm here. So yeah, Sean, does that feel,
Yeah,
how do you feel about
that's
that?
that's that sounds great. That sounds great. I love how you broke down everything. Even when you mentioned like the demographics, I was also thinking about like psychographics. So like what are
Mm-hmm.
some of the values or like the beliefs of some of your
Mm-hmm.
audience members? Like what are their favorite hobbies? Stuff like that is really good because it allows you to create like a customer or client avatar where like okay,
Yes.
if you have that, for example, for me, that 24 to 39, let's say you do your research, you probably have 100 people in your community or 100 clients. Being able to
Mm-hmm.
create a customer avatar that kind of embodies that demographic, embodies that niche audience is always really good, especially when you ever have the chance to just kind of share with other people so they get a good sense about what you're doing. And this is also for any entrepreneur. If you're ever doing any pitching contests, those come clutch. If you have a customer avatar, they like stuff like that because it lets you know, like,
Yeah.
oh, you really understand your audience. So I'm actually in the
Yeah.
process right now of doing my own market research, really taking the time to, reach out to my audience, reach out to people I've worked with as clients, people who have come on the podcast. So Ellie, I'm gonna have to reach out to you afterwards and we're gonna have to schedule a little one-on-one, but I'm definitely working
Yeah.
on things like that. But again, it goes to show that, for social media, you want to make sure that you're still staying professional. But like Ellie mentioned before, you want to show that personal side. You don't want it to be where it's just business, 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 business. It's gonna feel dry and dull at one point.
Yeah, yeah. And Sean, I love that you talked about you doing your market research. And I just want to say for anyone, maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody out here is wondering like, what is a client avatar? Your client avatar is your ideal audience. And you're just think of it as one client. Right, Sean? Like just think
Yeah,
of it as the specific ideal client. They have all of the things, you know them inside out, basically. You know their favorite shows, you know what it is they do on a regular afternoon. And that's really what a client avatar is. And for market research, people, do your market research, and don't be afraid to ask questions to people, to get feedback. That's something that a lot of people don't do, Sean. And I'm happy to hear that you're doing that, because a lot of people, they forget, like, you can ask your clients what they want. Don't try to make it up in your head. Ask them.
yeah,
People are happy to give feedback. People feel um, a part of the whole process they when you reach out to them and you ask them, like, hey, like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? That again grows your community, grows that bond, right? So
definitely for
yeah,
sure. All right, I
yeah,
do appreciate you sharing that sneak peek of the social media checklist. I can't wait to when it officially drops. I'll probably be
yeah.
one of the first people getting my hands on that for sure. For
Thank
sure.
you, Sean.
Of
Thank
course, it's
you.
it's all about support here. Obviously, I don't
Mhm.
want it to be where I'm bringing on people and then it just kind of feels like the conversation's over. Now it's like get out of my timeline or like I don't want to talk to you after. Like no, I want to keep building it. Again, it's a community that we have here in the safe room, so we're just here to expand it.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm very grateful to have been on here. I feel very privileged.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I'm glad that you do. So we have actually reached the end of all our questions. But Ellie, I just want to say thank you again for coming on. Appreciate your time, your
Thank
wisdom,
you.
your knowledge, the amount of like gems you guys drop. I hope you guys had your notebooks. All right. If you did it, then you might have to spin back this episode from top to bottom and like get the note that you missed. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But overall, Ellie, thank you for coming on.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me, Sean.
Yeah, for sure. Where can people find you on social media? Because you did mention you did change your social media, so I think this part's very important for everyone listening. You might have to just peep your ear dials just a little bit closer. So tell people where they can find you on social media.
Yes. So I saw that you didn't participate in my poll when I was changing my
Okay.
name.
So here's the thing before you get into that. I'm going to be very honest in terms of as a friend and also just
Yeah,
someone giving feedback.
yeah.
I wasn't a fan of any of the names.
Oh, that's
it
okay.
it was
That's
just
okay.
like because I will say this, rude bunny honey, I can see why, like, yeah, that gives off a different vibe, if you know what I mean. Just like
Yeah. It definitely does. And for a long time, like I loved it. That was what my YouTube name was. And the reason for that, little backstory, real quick. The reason
yeah.
for that was because people would see me in public, and I have this really resting, just like serious face to keep it clean on the show. Okay, I have this really serious resting face. And then when people would approach me and I would start smiling and doing all, they'd be like, holy, like you're actually so sweet. My middle name is Honey. So it was like my best friend previously, she's like, why don't you just call yourself Rude Bunny Honey? And that's how that came about. But for business and whatnot, I decided like, all right, cool. So you can find me recently updated from Rude Bunny Honey to Socially Ellie. It has a nice ring to it.
It's grown on me. It's one of those things where like I don't know, but like the more I see it, I'm like, all right, actually, it's actually solid. It's solid.
Yeah, it has a nice ring to it. So you can find me on Instagram at Socially Ellie. And really and truly, that's where I am mostly active. If you are a young woman, you're looking for lifestyle, social media, and business tips, or just like places to go, you can follow me on TikTok. I haven't changed my name as yet, so that is still Rude Bunny Honey. And we can interact there. Have a good time.
Okay, perfect, Ellie. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone listening to the Safe Room podcast this week. You can find us at Instagram at the Safe Room Official. And Ellie, I'm glad that you're keeping me on and toes when it comes to TikTok. So I'm trying to get to TikTok and YouTube. That is something that I'm working on in terms of like, we had the conversation about being more like personal, but listen to our episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars. It helps so much. You could get that traction. Leave a review. Let me know what you guys think about these episodes. Listen, I've done over 115 episodes. I feel now it's irrefusable. I need to hear the reviews. I need to hear from the people, my people. Come
Mm-hmm.
on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that because I gotta go. I have an event I'm about to head out to. So you might see it on my story later on. So who knows? But thank you again to Ellie for coming on the podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you next time.